of PFF. Apparently, it's headlining after the arrest, the kidnap, and the ongoing trial of Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye. A lot has transpired since. A group of supporters were marching to the High Commission, the Kenyan High Commission, to protest the manner in which their leader was arrested. They were bundled up, roughed up and bundled up by security. Well, that's just part of the story, but where is it ending? And how is the current situation really affecting the current politics? Well, Honorable Semuju, good to have you and a very good morning.
Thank you, Simon, and good morning to those who are watching and following.
How are you coming to grips with the Colonel Besigye situation?
First of all, I moved with Dr. Besigye to many parts of the country when we were consulting the FDC leaders on our next course of action after what happened to our party. In most of the meetings that I attended, Dr. Besigye told us he was 68. He kept citing a verse in the Bible, which is, by the way, similar to what is in the Quran, that we will live between 60 and 70. And he said, I am now 68. You guys, I am giving you 2 more years of my life. He didn't unequivocally announced retirement, but that's how I understood it. He said 2 years, 2 more years. And what people may not know, even at Katonga, I think these days he plays more as he acts more as a guardian. Many of the things are done by us and others. So I am surprised that Museveni, with all the security apparatus, we pay every year we spend about 250 billion on external security organization. We pay about 111 billion on internal security organization. We spend about 5 trillion on the military with all its units, including intelligence. That a Besigye who is preparing to play a more further role has remained a threat to them, that they have to forge charges against him.
No, it's too early for you to deduce that, to conclude that they are forging charges.
I don't know how many times Besigye has been charged in Uganda, arrested, imprisoned, and charged. The success rate by the Museveni regime has been 0. Besigye is the most imprisoned person, I think, in the whole of Africa. The number of times he has been arrested. But they have never succeeded. There are not many cases that they have prosecuted. They have prosecuted some, but even the ones that they have attempted, to the contrary, each time Besigye has taken government to court, almost he has had an 80% success rate. So I have no doubt in my mind, and I think every sane person has no doubt in his mind, that this case will be like several others that have come before. So where does this end? I wanted to start with that background, that I am shocked that with all the money that we pay for these people to collect intelligence, that they can go to Kenya and kidnap Besigye. Actually, I see you guys keep making mistakes. You call it an arrest. Uganda has no jurisdiction. They can't go and arrest someone from Kenya. In fact, Kenya has been using the word abduction. But I don't know if you guys, all of you, have been intimidated. You are now saying arrest. Arrested where? Besigye was abducted by SFC and driven back to Uganda.
Is it in a sense plunging you into fear as people who are close to him that perhaps he also targets?
But Besigye has been arrested before, many times.
No, this is very peculiar.
It's the same pattern. He has been arrested, charged with the treason, misprision of treason, charged with terrorism, charged with... All these offenses are not new. So they are the same offenses. The only one may be what you want to point out. We have 36 of our leaders, some of them middle, others senior, who were also abducted from Kisumu and charged with terrorism. But much earlier, if you remember, I think around August, you remind me, when you had the march and protests against corruption around Parliament, a document started circulating, a document claiming that Dr. Besigye and others were involved in subversion, that actually they were working with Kenya, that they were acquiring guns that will be shot, they will be disarming policemen. And New Vision published it. New Vision published it, which sometimes traffic rumor-mongering rumors from the security. So they published it. My name was there. That me, I was working with Dr. Field and Rwawog to remove government. People I have not spoken to in decades. So that document for me provides the basis of where we are and where we are going. Because it's not by accident that New Vision will publish a document making the atrocious allegation that they made, that there was a plot to remove government, that it will begin by protests, and then some of the protests who are trained will disarm policemen, they will shoot in the air, cause mayhem, and then government will respond, and then the international community will come like they did in Libya. That was in the New Vision, a document allegedly from intelligence. So our worry is that where we are going, and obviously the Museveni regime, again, because there is an election coming up, they will be more oppressive, they will be brutal, and all state institutions now must gear themselves up towards saving the regime, towards saving Museveni.
Why you? Why is it that it is your outfit that is targeted?
I don't know. That question should be to them. Maybe partly because of Besigye. Because you see, even within the FDC before we left, Dr. Besigye in particular, he has participated in elections and he has come to the conclusion that these elections are not working. He has been mobilizing the country for a non-violent protest against the regime. And that is something that frightens Museveni. Because yesterday, the other day when we got bundled and driven to CPS and eventually to Uganda Road, we had the 20 people. And we said we were just walking to the Kenyan embassy to receive an explanation as to how Dr. Besigye was abducted and the steps that Kenya has taken to stop this abduction. But we were bundled, taken. So the Museveni fears non-violent protest. It is something that and you saw even his response when children getting stories, Besigye is this, Besigye is this, Besigye, because you think by working together, by fielding joint candidates, by creating one platform, you as a person, you are going to be disadvantaged. So this conversation of working together, I think it's a conversation that can be advanced by those who are not seeking offices. Those of us who are seeking offices, we have been a problem and will continue being a problem. Unfortunately for Uganda, because the political parties are weak. I was in Ghana, people resigned from parliament to go and run political parties. The guy who is now a secretary general, I think, of the opposition party, resigned from parliament to become a secretary general. Here people are running away from running political parties to go and seek offices. Very, very difficult. So a conversation of people who want to be MPs, who want to be LC5 chairpersons, they will be looking at what gives me the opportunity to achieve this, not what will help the struggle to end the Museveni 4-decade rule.
As we get into a break, it looks as though PFF, where actually Besigye is very pivotal, is having problems in droves. The registration process hit a snag. Now, 36 activists were arrested. Now, Besigye is facing trial over treason. Do you think you're headed for doom?
I don't think the Besigye life has changed. When he was FDC leader, he got arrested. I remember in 2005, I hadn't joined politics. I was at the Observer. Besigye as a leader of FDC and the presidential candidate was in Luzira. The Salam Musumbas went to nominate him. They actually went with his photo. The physical candidate was in Luzira. But he continued soldiering on. He got out, completed the campaign, moving between High Court and campaigns. So for us, nothing has changed. That is the political life that we have lived. When you have a leader as resolved and as strong, one who makes Museveni shiver, in Dr. Besigye, you should be prepared to go through this. I remember in one of our conversations, one time we were meeting him with the road mayor, and Dr. Besigye told us, because of the nature of what we go through, we were having breakfast, and I think either road mayor or someone else was saying, no, I don't want, I will take. Say, no. When you grab something in the morning, you eat because you don't know where the lunch table will find you. So that has been the preparation. If there is anyone who is prepared for what he's gone through and what he's going through, I think it's Dr. Besigye. So those of us who work with him also know that the moment you are involved in the struggle like you are involved in, inconveniencing the leaders and their family, you run a risk. You will never know. The other day when I left home, I told my wife, I have gone, we are going to take a document to the Kenyan embassy. And she was saying, in a car, or, I don't know, we are not many, so we will go. She said, they will not allow you. So the next phone call, I was telling her that I have been arrested. I told you in the morning. But even the families are now getting used that this is the life that we live. The first time Museveni took me to Luzira, I think the family was frightened. They were seeing this for the first time. In the media, you get arrested, but not as brutal, because you, at Monitor and at Observer, they used to issue summons. You do a story, then they issue summons. At Monitor, they used to issue them through the news editor, Mr. Uma, and he will give you company to CID at that time when you had Chris Vakiza. So I'd been to police many times, but through summons. So this brutal arrest started when I joined politics and going through Luzira. So the PFF is continuing. If anyone makes a mistake to think that PFF is Besigye and maybe Salam Musumba, they will be shocked. Because people who are signing, correcting signatures for its registration are not in Kampala. I am in Kampala. In fact, my role was to mobilize my constituency to come and register. So the rest of the leaders exist. We are not a briefcase group. Because the briefcase group, you either confiscate the briefcase or you arrest the one who carrying it, and it will be done.
Well, we'll take a very short break, and when we return, we'll still be asking what the fate of politics is in the midst of Besigye's tribulations. Good morning. We're still having a discussion on the state of politics with the Besigye issue dominating the headlines. But, Honorable Ssemujju, do you get a sense that Besigye's arrest is only for the headlines, but it's not shaping politics that much?
Yes and no. Because as I said, I remember one time Onyango Bo wrote about Besigye and said many people will not like Besigye. The sacrifice that Besigye has made as a person, so it causes problems to those who are with him in the struggle. The things that he wants you to do, the things that the public would want you to do. So the commitment by Besigye is different. So the sacrifice, the contribution he has made the risks that he takes.
You seem to be idolizing Besigye too much.
No, I have disagreed with Besigye, by the way, but I have immense respect for him as a leader. Because when Besigye commits himself to do something, he will risk his life. Many of us don't do it. And I am a Muslim, I know human beings make mistakes. So even when he makes a mistake, that mistake is a bona fide mistake. So I have immense respect for him. So the kind of contribution he has made, sometimes instead of galvanizing people around him, it also pushes people away from him. I remember during Walk to Work, there are leaders I know in this town, position leaders, who paid cameras to film them as if they were walking when they were not, because the population had bought into it that every leader must walk. So they were buying cameras to film them as they are walking from their kitchen to sitting room, and they said yesterday while walking. So the thing that Besigye does, they are very troubling to many of us, and that's why you have people hitting him. But also, going back to the earlier question, and I worry, you see, when you deplete and deprive the country of leadership, you can wake up one day when there are no leaders to take over, even when Museveni has gone, genuine leaders to take over. I was in Parliament as a journalist for nearly 10 years. And again, my colleagues who are, you will forgive me. Mm-hmm. The crop of MPs in the 6th and 7th Parliament does not compare by miles with us.
You feel embarrassed?
I don't see any one of us wanting to risk his election. People who formed the Parliamentary Advocacy Forum under Ruzindana, late Patrick Musi, the Salam Musuma, the John Kazora, the Ben Watchers, they are spending the biggest part of, first of all, they will attend the Parliament, use it maximally as a platform. In the evening, they will be retreating in the canteen collectively, whether you are DP or UPC, to discuss the future of Uganda. And eventually, when Museveni changed the constitution in 2005, they all ganged against Museveni. He used state machinery, eliminated many of them. They did not succeed. So they were risking their own political career and their constituencies for the bigger struggle for democracy. Today, many of us, we can't criticize our leaders. You see MPs carrying gifts to their headquarters because we are all thinking about the next election. We are no longer thinking about Uganda.
I see where you're going.
As long as you, even if Uganda continues even worse than what it is today, as long as me, Semuju, I am an MP and I am earning a salary, that is okay. So we can continue that way. I have been reading this morning one of the local newspapers, if they are not lying, that even the Honorable Bowen was with his MPs complaining that they have abandoned him. He was in Chisora alone, he was here alone. Because many of us MPs are not with Kyagulanyi or with Besigye because we believe in what they are doing. We are with them to tap into their propriety to win the next election. And that's a danger. Museveni has been compromising us, speaking one after another. Those who have remained are also not entirely convinced that I am in this struggle. Even if I risk this and that, we are in it because there is an opportunity for you to be an MP in the next election. So if we continue this way, the population, and I have told Museveni and his people, the population that is tired of Museveni and want Museveni to go will one day wake up when they are leaderless. You have seen leaderless revolutions. They are not as proclaimed as the one you saw, leaderless, faceless. They just happen by themselves.
You want to suggest
that you wake up one day and the population has removed Museveni, but there are no leaders to take over.
So there is a vacuum in the opposition.
It
is glaring.
There is I have had a discussion with Dr. Besigye. I know this doesn't please many of the colleagues, and he keeps saying we have a deficit of leaders. That he has told me many times. And I'm not saying I'm a good leader, but I am saying all of us collectively, our commitment to removing Museveni and providing an alternative government is wanting. All of us, the motivation, majority of us, the motivation is winning the next election. And that's why people don't take risks. I remember in the last election, 2021, you don't know how many colleagues told me that the safest way of winning a constituency is by joining Kyagulanyi. Please, we'll have you, Ssemujju, please. And I said, see, I must do so on conviction. I must do so on conviction. I don't join because I want to win the next election. We have had MPs dying after swearing in. I am a Muslim. I mean, I must do things because I am convinced they are the right things to do. Because otherwise you can win a parliamentary seat and die. There are others who are removed. So even people who claim they are faithful, we are all behaving the same way. So the population and Museveni need to listen to this. The number of people who want Museveni to go away, that number is multiplying by a day. Whether the Ssemujjus as leaders are there or not, that number is multiplying, and they will remove him. The trouble is that you can remove Museveni, and then you don't have substantial leaders to take over after his removal. That's what we need to be working on as a country. These things need to move concurrently. I know Muntu used to say it a lot, that when they were fighting Obote, they thought removing Obote in itself was enough. He said, we didn't know that after removing Obote, we will be now waking up to removing Museveni again. Because once the focus is only on removing Museveni, which it should, you remove him, and then the following day you look at a set of human resources that you have and they can't carry the country. So the population wants Museveni to go yesterday, whether leaders get compromised or not. But us leaders are looking at both, but mainly the opportunity to continue earning a salary from parliament, from local government, from everywhere. So my plea, and I want to invite, I've seen in Malawi, in Zambia, you have the clergy, you have civil society, which civil society has also been undermined here and brutally crushed. We need to have many people talking about this and many people making themselves available, even to lead.
Are you missing the opportunity as the opposition to tap into the Besigye ordeal to energize the masses? Or you'd rather handle it the way you're running it?
I was the chairman for Honorable Paul Mwiru's campaign in Jinja. And I think it was the first time that I was seeing Bobo and speak at rallies. His message was that when we don't make a little sacrifice, all of us, a few who are making that sacrifice will be isolated and crushed. He was actually telling the public rally that we were attending that we don't have to make too much sacrifice, but that little one that you will make is what is going to give protection to those, to the Besigye and others. But if Besigye is making the sacrifice he's making, and the rest of you, Muntu used to say, are praying for him, Museveni in his head will establish that the moment I crush Besigye, I don't think there will be any other person who will resist me the same way Besigye is doing. And he studies that when you arrest Besigye and then you go and band of Ssemujju, they pick up twice, then Ssemujju will disappear, and then people below him will go under their bed. And he says, okay, then they will celebrate. I remember when they crushed the population here during the Kayunga protests, I saw a letter. I was still in Observer. At that time, I think Ivan Koreta and Kaihura and someone else, the three of them were the ones commanding. I still have those letters. And they are congratulating themselves that we did this with the help of some opposition and so on and so forth. So they study people that if you want to send stern warning to people that I'm going to crush you, who do you start with? You start with the Besigye. Sometimes with Lukwago, and at that time, remember when Lukwago and the Besigye were under house arrest almost permanently. The moment those two are isolated, and then the rest will go under their bed. So I am not indicting anyone, but I think, including myself, we need to do much more than we are doing. We need to do we need to risk a bit of the constituencies. Otherwise, if we don't do that, Museveni will organize the elections, he will issue a calendar, you will follow him. Like the last election, he will pick Bobi Wine. If there is another candidate, pick them. Either he will put them in jail, he will beat those who are around them, and then he will parade some of them to confess that we had the explosives in Chireka and Bwaise and so on and so forth. And then they continue, and life continues.
Honorable Ssemujju, as we get out of here, do you feel Besigye has been abandoned by his colleagues?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. You see, each time Besigye has been in prison, he has not been there with many people. Each time he has been charged either in the court martial or in the high court, he has been charged either alone or with some people. That's why I said at the beginning that the things that Besigye is doing, they will make him look like he's acting alone. There are many people, as I said, the levels of sacrifices are different. There are those who want to buy him a pineapple and take it to Luzira, wish him well in prison. There are those who are going to issue a condemnation. All those are contributions. And I'm not going to ask people to do this thing that Besigye is doing, because even me, I will not be able to do them. I am only asking ourselves, including myself, that we need now to begin risking, because if you continue fighting and holding on two constituencies as the first priority, then one time you will wake up one day when the population has pushed Museveni out and the population has lost confidence in all of you. Maybe someone who will emerge will shock everybody. And it has happened to other countries. So I think those of us who are leaders, I want to keep going back to the 7th and 6th Parliament. People, the MPs, the kind of sacrifice they made, the risks that they undertook. We are not even taking a quarter, but it is possible, it isn't too late. I am 51, majority of the MPs are about 30, 40. This is their time. They should do much more than the old people are doing. I've told you, SJ said he's 68, and he said, I have 2 more years. I'm giving you 2 more years. So those who are going to take over from Besigye, those who are going to take over from us, you need to learn from history, and you need to know this isn't going to be just about winning the next election.
Well, Honorable Ssemujju Ibrahim Nganda, a Member of Parliament for Kira Municipality, thank you for coming in to share your perspective on the state of affairs. That's it from me. Have a lovely day and stay blessed.